Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between Last and Shuttle here on Fighting Spirit. Top left-hand corner is the blue Terran player Last, and in the bottom left-hand corner his opponent, the teal Protoss player Shuttle. Love both these players, and according to the view counts, you love Last as well. He is an incredible Terran player, maybe the best Terran player who still plays professionally in StarCraft Brood War. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. Hit the like button while you're there. It just helps, YouTube find me with its algorithm and recommend me to other viewers of Brood War. Okay, so a TVP here on Fighting Spirit. It could be a macro game. It could be a sneaky twofer. You don't know. You do not know, right? Unless you skipped ahead. But that is spoiling yourself, and I don't like to do that, but I don't understand that other people do. I have a friend that likes to skip to the end of books to see if it's worth reading before they start it. So that is entirely foreign to me, but, everybody has their own preferences for pretty much everything. So, TVP here. It's going to be a lot of tanks and vultures and Goliaths, and a lot of Dragoons and Zealots, and hopefully, Arbiters. Because Arbiters are the key to Protoss versus Terran. Stasis, recall, cloaking. Okay, the cloaking part doesn't really matter. Nobody's really worried about, oh no, the Protoss army cloaked their units. Like, Terran doesn't care. They've got science vessels up. They have scans available. I've never seen a game won because of Arbiter cloak before. Like, maybe super late game, right? Like, you've managed to wipe each other's bases out, and there's one Arbiter surviving with, like, a Dragoon and a couple Zealots, and you just can't kill the Arbiter with what's left on the ground, and the cloaked units are wrecking all your stuff, and that could be interesting. That could be an interesting thing, but I've never seen it before. I think it'd be a lot of fun to cast. Just don't have any idea where I would find that. Anyway, barracks. Nobody going for the expansion real fast here. They're a little bit too afraid to try that out against these elite players. Again, Shuttle, a fan favorite. Really loves his Shuttle play, which makes sense. His name is Shuttle after all. Probe harassment, really annoying stuff. But Marine production beginning, and is that a Cyber Core? It is. So a Cyber Core, which indicates it's not going to be a 2-gate, which means it's not going to be any crazy Zealot pressure, which you can do. You can do against Terran. You can show up with Zealot pressure. They have to scout it and see it coming and make a bunker. And if they do that, they can hold. Also, walling off is really nice against that sort of thing, but as it stands, that's not what we're dealing with. This single Zealot might put some fear of Protoss into Last, though. If he shows up with a Zealot, and then Last is like, oh, this could be a lot of Zealots, that could be a problem. But he is definitely going for factory off of one base. He's not even trying to expand, and honestly, neither is Shuttle here, which indicates we're going to see some fast Dragoons with range. We're going to see some fast tanks, maybe with siege mode. However, the machine shop upgrade for Terran can sometimes be used for Vulture speed, usually Vulture mines, and that is just indicates siege is going to be a little bit late. They can afford to do that. Zealot shows up. There's 3 Marines. If these are well microed, none of them should die. And so far, oh gosh dang, that's not as well microed as I wanted it to be from Last, but he hasn't lost any of his Marines yet. He needs to keep his Marines alive. He needs them to be in bunkers. Whew, that was close. That Zealot almost got in there and hacked you into pieces with his Psy Blade, but did manage to stay alive there, Mr. Marine, thanks to your buddies. Now, Machine Shop, as I mentioned, on the way. Do we go for Siege first of all? SCV scouts in and sees it's a one-basing Protoss who is researching on the Cyber Core and says, okay, that is Singularity Charge pretty fast. So let's make sure we can hold our natural before we expand there. Let's maybe throw a bunker down sooner rather than later. And the upgrade is going to be Spider Mines. Okay, so Spider Mines are a viable opening here. It really makes early Dragoon pushes struggle because you can't see them and you can't take them out if you can't see them. And if you went that fast for Dragoon pushes, you don't have a robotics facility. So mobile detection is not a thing. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with what Last is doing here. And again, I'm sure Last would be very happy to hear that Falcon Paladin said he's okay with his opening against Shuttle in this game. Anyway, expansion coming up. There it is for the Last and for Shuttle. His Nexus is coming up at virtually the same time. What are we at here? Oh, yeah. 200, 300 HP, and yeah, around that too. So, yep, both players expanding at about the same time here. The Dragoons have showed up. They don't have Singularity Charge yet. And there is no bunker, but there is a tank. So this many Marines and a tank is enough to handle 2 Dragoons. You show up with 4 or 5 Dragoons, and they have range. It gets a little bit harder to hold without that bunker. Spider Mine's done yet. Spider Mines is done. Vulture's going to come in without speed, throw down a Spider Mine at the front. And now the Dragoons are not super happy about pushing in here at all. They're just covering for the laying down of these spider mines, and maybe trying to bait, or maybe just win, honestly. And again, vultures do full damage against shields, so if there's still some shields here on these Dragoons, the damage from the vulture is nice. But once the shields are out, not as good. Not as good against the Protoss units anymore. Oh, at least not against Dragoons. Good against Zealots still. Still just fine there. So Spider-Man's getting laid all over the place. Still not working on siege mode. Last does not feel like that's a priority at this stage of the game. He is obviously going to go into a lot of tanks later, but as it stands, meh. We're fine. We can hold without it. We can use those resources on things like more SCVs and possibly another factory, as in fact that's what we're dealing with here. So he's going right into mech, because what else are you going to do against Protoss other than go directly into mech? That's what I say. Spider-Man's getting tossed down in random spots by the Vulture, hoping not to run into a bunch of Dragoons, but he just barely misses that group. Whew! Wipes a bead of sweat from his brow and says, thank goodness I didn't run into those Dragoons. Maybe I'll try to find them. Maybe I'll run into them intentionally, he says. Don't do that. Don't be doing that. Siege mode is now on the way from last. Playing under a Smurf name, Melvert here, which is that anything backwards? Krevlem? No, that's not really anything either. Sometimes it's backwards and tricky, but not in this case. Observatory, any sign of that here? Robotics facility is done, but no observatory yet. He doesn't want to be able to move out and deal with spider mines quite at this point. He's fine defending, but dealing with spider mines. Oh, there is an observatory. Never mind. Why isn't it right here? That's a really dangerous place. Okay, observatory's done. I guess I could check the production tab. I should do that way more often than I do. We'll work on these things, everybody. We'll work on them together. Marine tank pushing in. These Dragoons do not want to engage. They will delay, but they will not stand and fight against these tanks. They're kiting as well as they can. Pretty good micro on display here from Shuttle. Again, the Vulture, if there are still shields left, and there are no shields left on these Dragoons, the Vulture's like, I'm out. Peace, I'm out. If there's nothing covering, oh man, jumping on these tanks is really nice. Tank down without getting a shot off. But the spider mines, ooh, did he get that? I think he got that. Nice target firing. Shuttle's micro on display here has been pretty fantastic. But Observer shows up. We've got Dragoons with range, and now spider mines are not as good. What is good, though, are these tanks with siege mode set up and spider mines surrounding. So they're going to try to come in from both directions, and that is just a terrible situation for last, with no real support from Vultures at all, just the one that doesn't really count. And he's going to head on back home. He's getting Vulture speed, which makes a ton of sense. And a bit of a wall of pylons here, just in case a Vulture run-bys. Shuttle is prepared for those too. Another factory on the way. Engineering bay coming up, just going to be for missile turrets. Obviously not going to be for bio upgrades, because who makes bio in a TVP? For reals, everyone. Yeah, factory, machine shop. We are meching it happen. You mech fans out there that love the strategy. Citadel of Adun coming in, going to be for Zealot legs and also for Storm. Eventually down the tech tree path and down that road. You know what's weird, you guys? I was looking at some view counts on my videos recently, and there is a Carbot animation Last versus Larva game that has like 42,000 views. It's an Epic game. And then I have an Epic Carbot Last versus Zero that's about the same length that has like 5,000 views. So I don't know how this works. Is it just everybody's more of a fan of Larva than Zero? I thought Zero was a fantastic player that has a lot of fans, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe there are more people interested in watching Larva, which, I don't know, people are attracted to BM, and Larva is one of those dudes. Spider Mine, no. No, does not hit. Again, nice control here from Shuttle early in the game. He hasn't lost anything unnecessarily. He did a great job handling that tank marine push early out of last and shutting it down effectively here. Nobody's really been able to take a third base, although 6 o'clock is getting cleared out from the spider mine. Spider mines do not trigger on workers. If they did, it would be insanely hard to keep your mineral lines alive against Terran. But they do block things from building. So that's why the spider mines are getting tossed down there. It's just to make it so you have to bring some units over and some detection, and then you can expand. And it does let the Terran player know when the expansions are coming down. Zealots on the way. Got ourselves a bit of a Zealot drop. Again, with shuttles. Spider Mine, wiping them out there. There are still 3 Zealots in that shuttle, but the defense is ready for last. Ready and waiting. Does he want to drop? He wants to drop here and hope Spider Mines kill. Ah, not quite fast enough on the pickup there. A bit of a micro mess up from Shuttle for the first time today. He's trying desperately to drag those Spider Mines into those Vultures, which would be really nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. So third base coming up earlier here for Shuttle. Then the third base is going to land for last. A bit of an advantage here for the Protoss. He has a higher worker count too. And there's your Arbiter Tribunal. So we're getting to the point where Arbiters are going to be a thing. All Protoss fans rejoice. I have cast a couple games out there where it gets to late game TVP and there are no Arbiters and Protoss just sort of dies. Just sort of dies. You really need the stasis to whittle down that tank count, take them out of the picture momentarily, take a tank count of like 15 down to, you know, 5 or 6, which you can do with good enough placement on that stasis. And if the Terran player clumps up a lot, that helps too. So a little bit of relying on the other player to make things happen that are good for you, which is not how you want to play StarCraft. You don't want to rely on the other player to do things that help you out. Anyway, maybe it's because there's Ultras in the thumbnail for the Larva versus Last game that I'm looking at here. Could be. Either way, Last is generally so many people like to watch, and Shuttle is too, so I'm hoping you guys enjoy this one. Man, did you guys watch the Brood War Cheese compilation that I posted a couple weeks ago? If you didn't, please go watch it. It's got yellow. It is the first yellow game I've managed to get on my channel because it's short enough to where the replay doesn't corrupt. All the other yellow games I have are long, and they're from old patches of Brood War, and they are just corrupt in the current client for StarCraft. Which means you get to about the 12-minute mark, and people stop making stuff, and it's really sad. It's very tragic. Actually, Squeal of Fortune, one of my subs, has actually been working on... Actually did find a way to kind of repair old broken replays. I might send him some of my yellow ones. I need to do that. See if he'll send him over to cast. Like that guy, Squeal of Fortune, he screened all my cheese too, which... It was a great composition. It wasn't just yellow either. I mean, we're talking about... Flash was in there. Talking about, I think, Zero was in there too. Talking about Hwasin. It's a murderer's row. It is a murderer's row of cheesers in the Brood War universe. And it's, again, just not getting much attention. So, check it out. I'll put a link to it in the top right here. If I forget to do that, please somebody remind me. And I'll be sure to toss it up there when I edit the video on YouTube. Anyway, stuff's happening, obviously. Fourth base coming in for the Protoss. And Last is not really showing too much interest in expanding yet. He's pretty happy to be a 3-basing Terran. To get this stage of the game is a nice place to be. Arbiters coming in, and yeah, map control does belong to Shuttle here. There's just not much that Last can do. If he moves out with the tanks, the Dragoons will jump on him. So he needs enough Spider Mines, he needs enough Vultures to dissuade that from happening. And it's going to be Vulture versus Zealot. If there's no micro on the Vulture, there you go. Then the Zealot will win, but if there's good micro, then the Vulture will win handily. Really shouldn't even take any damage there at all. Working on some Goliath production now back home. It's Last. Again, it's not necessarily because he expects a carrier transition, but it's just good against Arbiters to have some Goliaths hitting him from downtown. Downtown, Jackie Brown. Also EMP coming in. Really great against Protoss, removing all shields from the Protoss units. All Protoss units and buildings. If they get EMP'd, all of the shields go away. It's an insanely good DPS-style move to use against Protoss. We don't see it a lot. But when we do, it's pretty nice. He's going to try to... Ooh, just barely missed getting scouted there by the Protoss units, I think. Did he? Oh, he didn't. He did get spotted. The Dragoons are coming to shut this down, and there's an Observer coming too. Never mind. This is getting shut down. There's no way these Vultures are accomplishing anything. And the Shuttle. And you might want to get out of here with your dropship. Anyway, all these Vultures are dead. They're going to try to take any Dragoons with them they can. It's not going to happen. +1 attack is done for the Dragoons. We got ourselves upgrades for the mech. +1 attack there too. Keeping pace with upgrades, and no real super violence happening yet. No real huge battles. The one attempt for Last got shut down pretty easy. He retreated before anything much happened there. And I don't know if this bodes well. The times I've seen Protoss beat Terran in this style of game, which is, again, every PvT, is you keep the tank count whittled down over time. You just throw yourself against the tank count, bringing it down from 20 to 10, and then down from 25 to maybe 15, and then down again, and down and down and down and down, and then at the end of the game, you're not dealing with 30 tanks, you're maybe dealing with 20, and it's a little bit easier to handle. Yes, you have to sacrifice Dragoons to do it. Yes, it is a very Zerg style to play it that way, but that's how I've seen it done. That's how I saw Flash get taken down by, who was that? By, was it Last? No, it was Light. By Light, who's a Terran main playing Protoss, and he beat Flash as Protoss versus Terran. It was one of the more crazy games I've ever seen. That got an epic tag. If you missed that one, let me know. I'll put a link in the comments too. But I guess you know how it ends, so maybe spoilers are a problem. Anyway, this is a 3-basing Terran versus a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basing Protoss. It's a lot of Protoss right now. It's 198 to 186 supply, so it's pretty even that way. Tanks sieging up. Dragoons are going to take a couple hits. Actually, no hits at all. Look at him staying just out of that firing range. That is hot. That is hot Protoss action. Actually, +2, +1 done for the tanks. That's amazing. Still the +1 for the Dragoons. They're working on +2. No armor upgrades, though. All those resources are going to go to more Arbiters and whatnot. Observer picked out of the sky. I guess Goliaths are also good at killing Observers. He's expanding again. So I'm telling you, this is how you beat Terran. You expand a whole bunch, but I think, I don't know, it just feels like Shuttle should have been more aggressive earlier on in this game. You know what I mean? More aggression earlier on. That's how this needs to work. This is a lot of Observers, too, from Shuttle. I like it. He's keeping a close eye on the Terran army, except this one died. You can't keep that close of an eye on the Terran army, honestly. Honestly, who do you think you are? Scouting barracks, trying to see what's up. The Dragoons say, get out of this part of town. It's mine. Oh, no. You let the tank siege up on your natural. Oh, okay. Well, sure. A storm's nice, but your High Templar's gone. The Arbiters are trying to get on top of these tanks, but look at these Goliaths. Just wrecking them. Did they all get EMP'd? I think they got all EMP'd, too. You're not getting a stasis down on these tanks. They're going to set up. They're going to come in. This feels like a death blow from last. I don't know what Shuttle can do other than base race. Again, that's kind of what feels like is happening right now. We're trying to storm the tanks, but High Templar don't last very long when there are Vultures out and tanks out. This Arbiter is going to maybe try to stasis or just sit here and get wrecked by the Goliath. That's fine, too. Shuttle attacking up north to where there are fewer tanks, getting Zealots right on top of them. The Vultures did head home to help with this, and they're going to help immensely in buffering for the tanks at least a little bit, but still, there is a ton of Protoss here, and there are just not enough tanks for those Dragoons. Nice defensive matrix, but it doesn't last as long as you would like it to most times. Observer, not really trying to get out if you're just going to die, because running is for cowards. But yeah, the tanks wipe out the natural base. They call it a job well done. Let's keep moving. Again, we're a 3-basing Terran, soon to be a 4-basing Terran versus like a 6 or 7-basing Protoss. He just has a ton of bases all over the map. 21 Zealots in production for the Protoss. That's how good his production is right now. That is how good his mineral bank is. So the 6 o'clock base going to die. Again, Shuttle is bothered by this, but it's not game-ending stuff because he has 4 other newer expansions to deal with. It's not 4 other expansions. It's 4 other newer expansions, and that's what matters here. Dragoons maybe trying to wipe out some of these reinforcements, but the tank count is, again, high, and the 6 o'clock base explodes in a gout of blue flame, as all Nexuses do when they die. It's not very safe that they all explode. And what's exploding anyway? What the heck's in a Nexus? Building probes that causes explosions like that. Anyway, clearing out some of the spider mines, which is fine work, but it's not really helping you win the game all that much. Arbiter comes in, does a recall on top of the tanks with Zealots. Ah, hot. Great move there from Shuttle. Loving that, but is it enough? He's still fighting, coming up this left side. If he can shut down this 4th base, that's a major victory for him, because, again, last only has 3 other bases besides this one. No, the Dragoons get wiped out by the defensive tanks and the Goliaths and the Vultures. It's representative of all the things that Protoss is in this game right now. So 6 o'clock base done for the Protoss, but again, has 4 other newer bases, and the 3 o'clock for last survives quite nicely. Further upgrades on the way. Working on that +3 for the gateway units. Tanks are sitting at 2-1 still. They're going to be at 3-2 very shortly, according to the production tab. Upgrade advantage to the Terran player. Tanks on top of the production facilities for Shuttle. This is not a good place for Terran to be if you're trying to win this game. Last, but he's got a lot of Dragoons coming out. He EMPs the Arbiter. There's 2 others there that did not catch the EMP, though. Dragoons on high ground, not doing super well here. I mean, again, high ground is usually a good thing, but it's being spotted by these science vessels exceptionally well. So Shuttle needs to start making gateways elsewhere because he's going to lose these, and his ability to produce, 12 Zealots at a time is going to be greatly compromised right now. Shuttle coming in. That means the tanks need to unsiege. If you want to unload here, we're going to fight you unsieged. These guys, not so much, but there are a couple Vultures trying to help with it. How the tanks do in the meantime. Well, they're all going to die because the Zealot DPS is kind of nuts. Okay, I mean, I think that was a fair trade. That was like 3 tanks for 4 Zealots. Heck yes. Shuttle will make that trade every day of the week, but Last is up 199 to 166 supply. And again, this isn't going well for the Protoss, and I think it's mainly because he wasn't as aggressive as he needed to be in the early stages versus an elite Terran player that Last happens to be. And he's picking off High Templar just so easily. Here inside the main base, observers, again, continue to die. How many observers have died in this game? I don't know. These arbiters are just cloaking. Hey guys, how's it going? We're just hanging over this way. I don't know what his plan is for them. I really don't. Does he have like a huge army building elsewhere he's going to recall in? He's got all his gateways replaced in the bottom right here. So losing this doesn't hurt as much as it did about 5 minutes ago, which is nice. It's really smart play here out of Shuttle. I'm appreciating it a lot. But Last has not been bothered for a while. Shuttle's trying to get something done. He knows he can't just defend. He knows he has to get some aggressive play done in order to win this game, but Spider Mines and Vultures and everything, oh my, great stasis on those tanks. That's really nice stuff, but I mean, you are pushing the Terran player back, which is really nice. There's a lot of tech in here, too, that's dying for Shuttle that he probably shouldn't lose. So Arbiter down to mean old Goliath with +3 attack, 17 HP remaining. And picking off some probes there, too. Center base being taken by Last. That never happens unless you're supremely confident in your ability to win this game. That goes to show Last is like, I wiped out my opponent's main. That's how you win this, right? Well, I mean, if the Protoss is able to re-expand elsewhere and make production facilities elsewhere, and you know what I mean? It doesn't bode well. It does not bode well for you as the Terran player, even though you wiped out your opponent's main base. Still, Last has a 176 to 154 lead. There are some Archons in production here, which don't really do great against Vultures, because again, Vultures full damage versus Archons and Shields. Well, versus Shields, not all the Archon, but definitely versus Shields. And Shields are like 99% Archon. So we haven't taken the whole map yet. This base still has not been taken. The 12 o'clock is still empty and has been for a while now. But this is about as taken as Fighting Spirit tends to be in these macro games. These tanks are still hanging out, man. 13 kills, 6 kills, 13 kills. Vultures at 1, 0 there. This Goliath has 4. It's a very lackluster attempt to wipe out Shuttle's main, which I think is kind of hilarious. Anyway, enjoy the Terran music. Love this track. I like all of the Terran tracks, though. Takes me back to 98, man. Playing this thing. Old CRT monitor setup. Big old tower next to it. 486 DX2. I don't know how much RAM I had back then. Anyway, big attack cruising in here. From the Protoss. Winning handily, I might say. No real stasis here either, which I think is a problem, but the Shuttle doesn't have it, or the Arbiter has no energy for it, so it's understandable, I suppose. And who's going to win this thing? Tanks at the low ground, or down below going down, reinforcing tanks are coming out now. Last, shoving away those Dragoons. He needed to hold on to the center base if he's going to win this game. Holding on to the center base is really important for income. Decent for map control, too. It's kind of hard to move around without running into these tanks now. Unless you're going up north to south, which, sure, if you're defending your own base, but if you're going on an attack path, you're going to walk past this area in general at some point. Last expanding to Shuttle's natural. Oh, yeah. That is a straight-up in-your-face style mode. Kind of like it. Kind of like the move. Again, the lackluster base racing down south from Last is kind of hilarious. Fire mines. Man. You took Spider-Man hits, you had detection, and you had your Dragoons with a +3 attack and the range. Wait, their +3 get canceled? I think the forge that was making it must have gotten killed, but all the tech is back down in the bottom right-hand corner here, so keeping this base alive really should have been a priority for the Protoss player Shuttle. Yeah, this has been nuts for about the last 10 minutes. Kind of a slower ramp-up, but sometimes that's what these macro games are. Is a bit of a slower ramp up. Oh, Blast manages to get a huge siege up on the 3 o'clock position for Shuttle. And he's going to take it down. I really don't see any position in which Shuttle can stop this from happening. Although getting some free tanks up north is a good place to start. But there's, I mean, you're just not saving the Nexus is the problem. The tank fire is too consistent and too upgraded with their +3 attack, 85 damage per shot on the arc-like shot cannon, not including splash, that they wiped it out. Now, trying to get to this top right is going to be a little bit harder. Nice EMP! Beautiful EMP. Did not catch the Templar, though. That's a big deal. Great storm coming in here. Great storm coming in north to south. High Templar left alone, storming all the things. Wow! Great use of storm combined with Dragoons to wipe out that tank line. What a play. Out of Shuttle. Beautiful, beautiful job by him. Unquestionably gorgeous. If you didn't see, too, I did cast a team game last week. It involved the Ukrainian. I think it's the Ukrainian player Marwin. Oh, I'm going to get that wrong. But defending quite nicely here. With a ton of zealots. His Shuttle. He is Ukrainian. Okay, anyway, Marwin and 3 other players. It was a fun 2v2. Got it off of bwreplays.com. But, yeah, goodbye. Goodbye all of the tanks here. Yeesh. And the supply difference is not that big anymore. It's 147 to 157 supply. The Terran player is up, but not by a ton. And Shuttle making good use of storms, decent use of stasis. Hasn't used that as much as you usually see here. And the EMP consistency here from last has been pretty great. If you can catch those High Templar, that'd be nice. Although, how much energy do they have? I think they're new. Maybe it's not even worth EMPing them if they don't have a ton of energy. I guess, for those of you who are new to the game, which I can't imagine anybody's watching this and is like, this is my first Brood War game ever, EMP does actually remove energy, too, off of spellcasters. So shields and energy in the case of Protoss, which is pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. Attacking on in, Storm versus the tanks. Kind of hitting your own zealots, though, and that is the price you got to pay. Coming from the top side, too, Shuttle actually does force a liftoff on that command center. The tanks are out of position to save it. The tanks are down to the south, though. The closer the Dragoons come down here, the worse it's going to be. Look at these High Templar just walking down. Casting storms, catching SCVs who are trying to repair the tanks. And the center base does get kind of wiped out here. Shuttle making stuff happen. He's up, down. Wow, we're actually doing a crazy thing with the supply here. 169 to 163. Last has a lead, but it's incredibly back and forth right now. This is a great TVP. Spider mines, storms. This is really great consistent storm usage. I have some people who fight with me in chat about, in the comments about whether storm is good in PvT. I think it's good. I mean, I don't think you can win just with storm, but I think it's good. Nice storm on the SCVs trying to repair that command center. The command center ends up dying as well. That is just some disgustingly great Protoss moves out of Shuttle here. Enjoyed that immensely. 174 to 161 supply. Last has a lead. Are we gonna... Jeez, we are trying our hardest to mine this map out, y'all. I mean, we're effectively looking at 3 mining bases for last... I'm counting the center, so he's down to 2 mining bases. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4 mining bases for the Protoss. Again, he's really had an economic lead here, which you have to do against the really cost-efficient Terran mech units. Is you got to have a base lead. Zerg has to do the same thing as Protoss here, just because Terran's cost-efficient no matter who they're playing. They don't discriminate. They're very open-minded that way. We will be cost-efficient no matter who we're trying to murder. They're coming from 2 directions here. These Zealots not going to do super well up north, but the southern army's a lot bigger. And there are fewer tanks here. So Spider Mine's getting cleared up by Zealots using their bodies to do it. Are we up to +3 attack yet? No, he made another forge. He never started +3 attack. If Shuttle loses this, part of that's going to be the fact that he's only sitting on +2 attack, and he really wants to be on +3. He was going for +3. It didn't work. Every other Protoss against an elite Terran player at this stage of the game has +3 attack for their gateway units. And it just goes to show, even the pros will forget upgrades sometimes, everyone. You forgot an upgrade? You know what? Shuttle does too. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it. You don't worry your pretty little head. 199 to 198 supply. We're maxed out. Here comes another massive battle. EMP is getting tossed down all over the place. Storms down south. Dragoons and Zealots trying to get on top of this, merging into Archons with the High Templar. That does not work out super well, but too many tanks. Too many tanks. Too many tanks. Too many tanks. And this applies to Zerg and Protoss equally. Too many tanks. Ground armies are not viable. I don't care if you're Protoss. I don't care if you have super strong units with shields and armor and HP. No, it doesn't matter. Too many tanks is too many tanks. You cannot engage into too many tanks. How many is that, you might ask? Well, this is too many. We got 4 of them sieged and like another 12 of them. I don't know, man. We're looking at a lot. It's like 20, though. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Last coming up into the production facilities. Remember how important these gateways are. I guess there's a bunch at the bottom right, too. Doing a good job splitting up his production, I would say here is Shuttle. Making sure that if any one base dies, he doesn't lose the ability to make army, because that is truly death. Is when he can't make any more units, then you're done. Whether because you're starved out, as Last kind of is. He's not floating any kind of a mineral bank here. Nice job getting the High Templar. One High Templar goes down thanks to that Vulture. Well played indeed. Those are your targets, man. It's going to be High Templar. It's going to be Zealots and Probes. You're really good at killing all of those things in the Protoss army. 14 Zealots in production from Shuttle. Last is retaking the center. He's at 58 SCVs to 61 Probes. But more of a bank here out of Shuttle. So again, economically doing better and making really good trades to where he has this bank. I'm liking the play. Still, anybody can win this. This is anyone's game at this stage. I'm not even sure. I can't tell right now who is going to win this thing at all. Like, the tanks could kind of set up and wipe his top right-hand base, and then just move down the right side, kind of killing everything as they go. And would be hard for Shuttle to hold. I could see him losing that way, but I could also see Shuttle just making incredible trade after incredible trade here. Nice sniping of the High Templar, though. Last making it happen. Zealots, Dragoons, Storm all over everything here. It's just too many tanks, though. I guess coming from the north might help a bit. I still think it's too many tanks. That's what bears out. Too many tanks. 7 kills, 4 kills, 5 kills, 1 kill, 0 kills. I mean, winning the engagement is not as important as wiping out tanks. But it's 176 to 115 supply. That maybe not was the kind of engagement you wanted if you're Shuttle there. That is not much defending the top of this ramp. There are High Templar that not enough energy for Storm. There are some Zealots. Last doesn't want to go up that ramp, though. I'm not sure why. I mean, honestly, bring in a couple tanks. Bring a Science Vessel over. Do you have any Science Vessels left, or they have all died? They might have all died to Dragoons today, which is not really what you want. Also, bring some of these units. Oh, these SCVs are idle. Bring them up to the middle. Man, Last is not really paying attention here to his macro as well as you would want him to. Look at all these SCVs that are idle. Bring them to the main. There are plenty of empty mineral patches here. There's a refinery you can take. There's an empty Vespine Geyser, which is not something you can say every day at a base you own. Just kind of forgot about this bottom left-hand corner, though. He's really focused on offense, which everybody does. I've definitely focused on offense to the detriment of my defense and my macro in games that I played. So, again, players are not perfect gods. Oh, Vulture, there you go. One final tank takes down the Nexus on the right side at that 3 o'clock position. It's 192 to 163 supply. Shuttle is really fighting hard here. He's finally got his +3 on the way, and it's almost done. But is it too late is the question. Is that +3 going to be enough to help him win these engagements when the tank count is so stupid high? I mean, that's a full page of tanks and then some, which is never great. Never great. 3 o'clock position. Tank gets wiped out. He's got 10 kills, though. He can die happy. Die's a happy guy. Hey, look who transferred his SCVs up to the middle. Last did. Hooray. Hooray, hooray. I mean, honestly, taking the 6 o'clock doesn't seem like it'd be too hard for him. He's mined out several bases today. Not sure what tanks are firing. Oh, we do have a Science Vessel. Hooray! And he's taking this natural base in the top right spawn. I'm liking this. I think Last might have this game. Again, it's not over yet, and it's not over until the fat lady sings. But it just doesn't seem like enough Protoss army. He's down 30 supply. He's going to catch an EMP to the face. Just kidding. Science Vessel is not interested in doing that. Does it need 150? Is that what it is? I think that might be what it is for the EMP. Otherwise, it would have gotten tossed. No, hang on. It's not. Definitely not 150. He was waiting, I guess. Was he trying to catch all these High Templar? He did not, if that was the attempt. But these poor High Templar, they're storming the ever-loving everything out of these tanks, but they're also all going to die. And that's your good game. Shuttle taps out. He recognizes he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough in the bank. He doesn't have enough income to cut it with last tier, still holding the center, still holding this left side, and taking this base on the low ground too. That there's just nothing. There's nothing you can do. Look at this tank count. Look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. It's 27 tanks on the field right now, not including 30. These 3 down in the bottom left, not counting 31 here. I mean, it's 30 tanks. That is too many tanks. And Shuttle could not hang. Not because he's not a great player, but because he couldn't hang. Doing his best. Doing his best here. The +3 attack was a problem for him. Never really was able to jump on top of these tanks to keep that tank count low at any stage of the game. A couple times he won battles quite nicely, but forcing last out of the center was nice, but it wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough. The tank count kept continuing to increase here. The storm was really good for some of these battles. But again, you notice the High Templar die. Like, High Templar are not escaping from battles against tanks where they storm them. It doesn't go well. Right? It just doesn't go well for them. Like, against Zerg, you can cast a storm and escape, probably, and do something later. But against Terran, it's like, well, you walked into tank range and you were lucky not to die just to get this close, and then the tanks fired on you after you cast your storm and you're dead. So rest in peace, all of the High Templar that died in this game. I got a feeling it's like 40. I really wish I had a units loss count or measurement here in Remastered. StarCraft 2 has one, and it's really nice. But yeah, tank count too high. That is how Shuttle and many other Protoss players have died in their day to Terrans. Again, close game. 300,000 points to 319. Units killed here, fairly even. More from last, obviously. That's going to make sense with these tanks here. Buildings raised way more. But again, you wipe out a Protoss main, you're going to raise more buildings. And then resources, Shuttle ends up mining actually a little bit less gas than last did, surprisingly. Way more minerals. And ended up spending a bunch more too. But again, you can spend a much more than your opponent. And if they're mech, it doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter. Amazing. Amazing. What a game. Highly enjoyed that. Highly enjoyed that game. So that's going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.